Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Pope Francis was the star attraction on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Thursday. Tens of thousands of people gathered on the U.S. Capitol lawn to intently watch Pope Francis deliver an address before a joint session of Congress. Francis is the first pontiff in history to deliver such an address. The Pope touched on several sensitive issues and challenges and called on Americans and the citizens of the world to summon the courage and the intelligence to resolve today's many geopolitical and economic crises. He said that it is important for people of all faith to come together to fight inequality.
In this land, the various religious denominations have greatly contributed to building and strengthening society. It is important that today, as in the past, the voice of faith continue to be heard, for it is a voice of fraternity and love, which tries to bring out the best in each person and in each society.
Well, the pontiff also spoke about America being the land of dreams, a place where historically dreams led to action and participation, which in turn led to commitment.
Here too, I think of the march which Martin Luther King led from Selma to Montgomery 50 years ago as part of the campaign to fulfill his dream of full civil and political rights for African Americans. That dream continues to inspire us all, and I am happy that America continues to be, for many, a land of dreams.
Well, Pope Francis also compassionately spoke about the refugee crisis that so many countries are facing. He said that the world must not be taken aback by the large numbers of migrants, but rather view them as real people, seeing their faces and listening to their stories so that we can respond in a humane and just way. Now, for more perspective on the Pope's address and his visit to America, I'm joined here in the studio by Father Aniedi Okure. And in Philadelphia, Father Benoit Mukamba joins us live via Skype. Father Mukamba, let me begin with you. First, your thoughts on the Pope's address to the Capitol this morning.
The thoughts of the Pope really spoke in a very broad way, and I followed him. He touched really the heart of America, and he touched the key issues that surround the world also. Going from matters of justice, all based on the principle of the human person, and based on the common, he really lectured also on the common good, which has been always a problem here in America, with people thinking of speaking of the common good is minimizing the principle of individualism, and yet the common good is what binds society together. And he spoke broadly about that too, and touched immigration, how it is not only an objective issue, but it is a very subjective issue that affects him even himself. And the very nice word that he put is, each one, most of us here, we were once also foreigners. And that was just really key to the whole thing on how people should approach it.
Yes, and now, Father Okure, you know, some of the issues he touched on are issues that people talk about, things that people are very familiar with. What is significant about the Pope addressing these issues?
I think the Pope addressing the issue takes it to, if you would, a pastoral level, that we have a moral obligation for one another. You know, the growing inequality in the world today is really, really striking. Never before have we had such inequality in the world that many people are growing extremely wealthy, while many, many are descending into poverty. Actually, a few are growing extremely wealthy and very many descending into poverty. And that touches also on what he talks about exclusion. One of the phenomena of modern world is that so many people are excluded from the mainstream, more specifically, main economic stream. We see people who are working full-time, sometimes husband and wife working full-time, and yet unable to meet the basic necessities of life. So the Pope is calling us as a human community to think how to resolve this issue, because it's a moral issue.
Yes. Now, Father Mukamba, we know that as the Pope continues his travels across the U.S., it is also a political season here, and some of those issues actually are being kind of echoed from political podiums. Do the politicians really care about the position of the Pope?
We still have to explore more things, to hear more things from the Pope. We are expecting him here in Philadelphia with open hearts, and the entire city has really warmed up for him. We'll listen to him and we'll welcome him, and especially as he centers everything on the person, on the human person, and the dignity of the human person. And I hope he'll also be able to touch the issue of immigration, of immigrants right now, especially the refugees, not only in Europe, but there have been masses of people, millions of people on the move all over the planet. And Africa has suffered quite a lot. So many countries in Africa which have welcomed refugees with bare means. They had to sustain them. And so all that is all based on justice, on how the bigger nations with resources, especially with resources of wars, can contribute positively to the stability of the entire continent.
Mm-hmm. Now, Father Okure, you know, same kind of line of thought. In terms of who is addressing, you know, all the millions of people listening, they feel good and they say, yes, that is it. They should be saying more of that. But in terms of practicality, you know, the people really contribute to making a change. What has to be done to really influence them?
Yeah, I think, let's stay with this country, for example. Voters have the voting power to try to get in people there who resonate with what has just been referred to, the common good. Sometimes when leaders of the church talk about distributive justice, talk about sharing your wealth, people think, oh, communism, socialism. That's not the case. Making profit and being wealthy is not a bad thing. The church has never said that. But if I'm accumulating so much money, and in the process, I'm cheating people, in the process, I'm trampling on the justice of others, the rights of others to make that money and keeping it, then that's not right. And so I think collectively, we have to remind our lawmakers, we have to remind the economic community that they have an obligation to the community from which they benefit.
Now, in a few seconds, Father Mukamba, at the end of this trip, and the Pope leaves the United States and goes away to other lands, what do you think Americans will take away from it?
This trip, I hope the Pope will touch the hearts of many people, not only Catholics, but all the American people, because the responsibility that the representative of the people have depend very much on the people themselves. because they are the people who give the vote, the people who influence the decisions in Washington. And I hope his message, as he insists on this message, will be able to transform, and his attitude himself, and will be able to transform many hearts of American people and many hearts of all the people all over the world. That's what I'm really expecting and praying for.
Well, Father Benoit Mukamba in Philadelphia and Father Aniedi Okure here in the studio. We do appreciate very much your insights. And thanks a lot for joining us today, spending your time with us.